So hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. And as we all know, like 2026 is has been flying through and it's already more than halfway through the year. We are already crossed almost 7 months. When I am shooting this video, it's 20 July, so July is going to be end in like 10 days. And we have some exciting books which I want to share with you all through the some amazing tags which I have prepared for them, and I will share that those books with you all through those tags which I have given them in this mid-year tag video. And before that, I just want to share some stats with you. So without any delay, let's start the video first with the stats. So I have the goal of 35 books which I want to complete this year, which I am not so far from that goal because I have read, which I have going to tell, I have read 17 books in total till now when I'm shooting this video with an average rating of 4.7, which is incredibly good. I have rated almost every book more than four, every book, not most of them, above 4 star, which is a good thing. I have read 7 YAs, thrillers, 5 romances, 4 historical fictions, and 3 lit fics, which is a good thing because it's a buffet kind of thing. And I have read almost every genre except fantasy, which is a very bad thing. I don't know. I have read Shatter Me, but I don't know why it's not in a separate genre of fantasy. It's I think in the YA section. So I have read these books, and now I will tell you among these 17 books the tags I have given to some of them, which are very special to my heart. So, without any delay, let's start with the tags. The first tag which I want to share with you all is the best book I have read so far. And with that, I have done a little bit of cheating because I have two books. Those. The first one is my recent read, that is The Women by Kristen Hanna. I have recently read this book, and I am going to tell you it's a drastically emotional read for me because it was emotional, it was painful, and it was so real for a character to be exist like that, just as a human being who is not flawless, who is just doing mistakes and want to stand on her character. I am talking about the character which is Frankie, the main character of the book. And as far concerned with the story, it is basically the story of the women who are serving in the Vietnamese war, who are nurses over there and working as hospital staff over there, and they are suffering a lot of things. But the people here in America, when they returned from the war, they are like that. There were no women in the war. They just don't serve there. There were only men who just combat, who just only fought the, and that just make your heart ache when you read the book because after seeing that journey of your character which you are reading of the character Frankie, you are just gonna want to cry at that moment. And there were so many moments in this book when I just want to cry, and I have cried, screamed, or at like so many moments because of the war description and the brutality of the war which you just going to see in this book. So if you just don't like all those things, I prefer you just don't read this book. But it's not that brutal or that graphic, so you can. So just, and it's only around for the halfway through the book, so you just don't have to deal with them. But it deals with the topics of a lot of things like self trauma and violence and war brutality, and how a war just affect a person internally, how a war person just got affected by the war things, which is not good. Frankie as a character at the starting is like, war is necessary, we are fighting the communism and all of that, but till the end she was like, no, war is definitely wrong. And you will see her character growth, which is definitely a good one. The next book, which is very बहुत नीचे रख दिए मैं, so I have to, the next book is, I think you know this, My Friends by Frederick Backman, which is a story of a painting, and it's all related to the painting. The people who are in the painting and the person who is now having the painting is all about that. The story is all about those characters, all about those people who are so real, so emotional, so vulnerable. And I have annotated and tagged this book also, so you just see that. And I love this book like to the core of my heart. Frederick Backman is one of my favorite authors, and I love this book so much. I have blabbered about it so many times on this channel, so I'm not going to take a lot of your time. So that's it for my best book. Let's keep them aside for those, the tag of the best book for the year. The next tag is a solid 4 star. I don't have a lot of 4 star books with me because I read so many books and I have rated almost them like above 4 star, but I have one. And the book is The Lanterns of Lost Memories by Sanaka Hiraki. I don't know who translated it. Let me see. Translated by Jesse Crickwood. And this book was cozy, emotional, not emotional in that sense, but it was cozy and a very nice read, and it's very short. I have recommended it in my short book recommendation video. And it is basically a concept or a cozy fantasy, if you can say, of a place where you go after your death, and it's basically a studio where all your memories are there in a form of photos, and you just have to select one memory from each day of your life, and at the end the larten will play of your memories, and you just have to see that and relive them. And it's incredible, it's cozy. You just go through three stories of three characters in this book, which are very short. You can complete this book in, I think, one day easily. It's only 125 to 150 pages long, and it's incredibly good, it's incredibly cozy. I prefer you to just add this book in your fall or winter TBR, what you can say. Just read it, it's very good, I highly recommend it. The next book is a book that just let me down. Please don't come on me, because the book is not quite dead yet by Holly Jackson. I have rated this book 4.25. Just don't come on me. I'm not saying I don't like this book. I loved how the character of Jet just, so firstly I will tell you the story. The story is about the character Jet, who just got uh, murdered on like the Halloween night, and now she just don't died in that murder. She's just got saved, and now she want to figure out who was her murderer or the killer in 7 days, because she is now going to die in 7 days. And in those 7 days journey, you just see Jet as a character, how she will figure out the killer and all of those things. The reasons I have said that it's one of the let down books till this time of the year, because I was expecting more from Holly Jackson. It was emotional. I shed a few tears of emotionality at the end, because if you read the book, you know why. And it's a thriller book, and if you're just making it cry, that's why I've given it 4.25. But it just let me down because I've guessed the plot twist before, I think 10 pages before. So that's the reason, one of the reasons. And the next reason is that I'm not that much connected to the character of Jet as concerned from the other books of Holly Jackson, which I have read, like Good Girls Guide to Murder or Five Survive. I expected more, I think. So it is my like little bit let down for myself. The next book is the biggest surprise, and for this tag I have Just Friends by Haley Pham. And I am telling you why it's the biggest surprise, because everyone was hating this book. Not hating, they are just saying that this book is like ridiculous, you just don't like this book, you will just don't like this book, and the writing style is pathetic and all of that, the storytelling is like just like pathetic and all of that. But I loved this book. I also given it like 4.25 star rating. But the amount, because of the longevity of this book, it for I think the book was a bit long. It could be a bit shorter, like Annabelle Mongan book length, that kind of length it should have, but it doesn't have that length. It is a bit more longer than it requires, I think. But it follows the story of Blair and Declan, who are very good, like definitely girlfriend and boyfriend, and they are just going to marry, and they are just happy best friend to lover tropes and all of that. But suddenly something bad happens, and they just broke up. And why they broke up and why they re-met to each other, you will see in the book. I definitely agree, at some point you just got irritated at some point, not because I'm not because of the writing style. I just love the way Haley write that this book, and I love the writing style. I definitely have to search some words for my increasing vocabulary, which is a good thing. But I just loved this book. That's why it's a biggest surprise for me, because I am just not expecting anything from this book after seeing a lot of mixed and almost negative reviews of the book on the internet. Because I think it was written by Haley, so everyone just judged it a bit more harder, I think. So I am very happy to read it and loved it. Just not the longer length of it. The next tag is the book that just made me happy, and that is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I just love this book. Oh my god, I have read this in a vlog, which is 24-hour readathon, and I love this book. It is one of my 6 star, one of my top reads, which I want to add to the best tag. But let's give it a different tag, which is just it, because it made me so happy reading this book. It was just, I was just like giggling, blushing and all of that, those cute little moments which you have with a proper sense of emotional vulnerability which you have in a romance book without getting bored, which I was complaining with the Just Friend because it was longer, and I at some point I just got bored. But with this I didn't, and I loved this book with all my hearts. Just go if you haven't read this book. I'm not going to give you the synopsis, because I think now on everyone on internet on or this world who read books already read have might have read this book. But if you haven't, I will tell you the basically a short synopsis, that it's the story of Liz and Wes, who are neighbors to each other, and suddenly Liz just want a help from Wes, and they are not so good friends, and they just are neighbors. But suddenly, because of that help, they are just got entangled with each other. That's all I'm going to say. Other than that, you just have to read this, and this book is definitely better than the movie, because the movie is going to become in future. So I'm saying that because of that. The next book, that next tag is a series I'm in the middle of, and it's the Shatter Me series I'm in the middle of. I have started this series this year only in April. I have read this book, and I love this book. Like, I want to read and the next book, the next novella in the series, as soon as I just finished this book, because I loved the adventure part of this book a lot. Definitely got bored at some, not bored, but certainly not a very big fan of the romance of this book, but definitely love the adventure. So I just want to continue the series ASAP, as soon as possible. I just want to read the Unravel Me, the next novella, which is after this book. The next book, the next tag, the book I'm in the middle of, and for this tag I want to choose, I have to choose this book, the book of Everlasting Things by Achal Balotra. I am saying this book is not bad. This is not the mistake of the book, this is mistake of mine, because I don't know if yes, it has my bookmark, and I am on page number 18. I have firstly started this book around September last year, and then restarted this book in February this year, and then I soft DNF basically. And I'm trying to read this book but cannot read this book, pata nahi kyon, because I want to read more and more books by Indian authors, and I love the Independence Day setting which this book have, independence around that time setting, and I want to read this book, and definitely will in future. I am till I have read this much, I have loved this book, and I'm going to read it definitely in future. So that's the next tag, is the favorite author I have discovered this year. So you all know about Frederick Backman. The next author which I have figured it out this year was Kristen Hanna. I know because I have read two books, The Women and The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, and both the character Elsa and Frankie of these books just stayed with me with all over my heart. The Four Winds was a 5 star. This Women was my 6 star read, and I just think about them is still in my mind, in my heart. And so I just love the characters, the book, the pacing, the story, everything of them. And now Kristen, and I want to read each and every book by her. If you just want to recommend any of her book which I should read next after these two, do let me know in the comment section. The next thing, the next tag is the new release I want to read. So recently, the names by Florence and Shanap, I think that's what the author name is, has recently came, not recently came out, came बहुत पहले ही आ गई थी, but मैंने अभी तक नहीं पढ़ी. And I am very intrigued from this whole synopsis of this book, because it's a story of a mother. I think the name of the mother is Cora, who just have delivered a baby boy, and now she want to name her son, and she just very confused with the three names. And it basically deals with the topic of how one decision of your life just affect all over your next decisions, and next over all your life as a whole, how one decision just affect that. I think this whole book just move around that topic. It's very interesting to me, it's very intriguing to me, and I want to read it. It's contemporary, I think, fiction, and I want to read this ASAP. I don't know it's contemporary fiction or lit fic, but it's fiction, and I want to read it as soon as possible. The next and the last tag which I have, the 10th tag for the book, the most favorite character. For this, I can say Frankie, I can say Elsa, and I can say many more. But the favorite character is from the book Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, and the character is Ezra. And if you have read this book, you all know the why, but I will tell you the reason. Because the character Ezra is facing OCD, that is obsessive compulsive disorder, and how she badly is affected by that, and how messed up her mind was because of that. And I just related to it. You know why? Because I am also facing those issues, the anxiety, that OCD part, and hyperhidrosis comes with a cherry on the top of a cake. It's all about that, and I just related to this character like to the depth of the pool. So I loved this character. I am going to love, and the most favorite. This is not one of my most favorite book. It's a 4.25 or 4.5 star read for me, but the character of Asa is going to be my favorite for all over my life, because of the connection I have with her, because of that those similarity which I can't remove from my life, and she's not removing them from her life, and we just got same to same pinch in that part, and I'm going to relate and love her for that. So the favorite character. And if you just want to read a book and just facing these issues, you just have to read this book. Please do read, I highly recommend it. So with that being said, I have given you 10 tags with 10 more than 10 books. Think you have got some amazing recommendations, some amazing stories which you just want to read. And I think I'm not very good at expressing all over my thoughts, but I think you understand what I just want to express. And if my thoughts and thinking is not as same as yours, just don't come on me. Reading is subjective and we all read for joy, so just let it be. And that's it. Let's meet in the next one.